car fans, welcome to the Muscle Car Modeler. My name is Raul, and this week I'm going to show you some updates here to my 71 Camaro SS 396 project, this MPC build that I had in my stash to restore. And just got some more primer on the body and started doing the body work just to see where I'm at. As you can see, I cleaned the mirrors up just a little bit and then I just kind of glued them in place. That's just kind of temporary for now. And I hung that Model Haas wing on the back. So I got that started. It's glued in and it had some funky molded out lines. So what I did is I carved those so that they're now recessed because they were kind of out. It was kind of weird. And I'm going to reshape it a little bit because I don't like how it bulges here. But I'm going to check my references. But I'm going to get that sealed a little bit better to the body. I'll shoot some primer on this. This is just a quick shot of primer just to see where the body's at as far as any kind of areas I need to work on. So there's a little bit on the fender here and just a little spots here and there, but I mean this is a great body. I mean it looked ugly with the green dye and the scratch, some of the scratches in it, but after shooting some primer on it, you can see some scratches right here. Shooting some primer on it, you can really see what this body is actually in really nice shape. And doesn't really need a whole lot of work to clean it up, but it will get cleaned up a little bit better. And I will pin the mirrors, but right now they're just sort of tacked in place so I can see where they're at. You can see this one's down a little more than the other one, but when you pin them you can kind of adjust them and tilt them because the pin will also hold them. But and I can sand it at a different angle to help pull that up too. But she's just getting started. But it's an easy one since I got all the parts other than some tires. I haven't figured out which hood I'm going to use yet. I did shoot some primer on this hood to see what it was at, and other than just the damaged corners, which I may just fix them and keep this hood and save the Model Haas hood for another project because it is the original hood. So, but there's a big difference between the bottom sides of the Model Haas hood and the this hood. Kind of wish they didn't stamp the 70 through 73 Camaro on the bottom like Model Haas likes to do. You can see it there. It says MPC because they are different between AMT and MPC. So they did do that, but not a big deal, not a deal breaker. When you didn't have a hood, you kind of you got what you got, and even now you can't even get this hood anymore. So that's kind of sad, but that's the way it is. But I got the original, so that's coming along. Then I did strip the chrome off of some of the, see all these parts were chromed. So I stripped the chrome off of these, and there's the alternator. I'll get start detail painting them, get the engine together. I actually got, this is how I like to paint. So I mounted everything on tape here. The partially assembled suspension. And then here's I stripped the chrome fan. Now this came from parts from another kit that was it was built but not painted, so it's kind of funny that the fan blades are blue, or the belts are blue. The fan was chrome, but once I stripped the chrome off it's brown. But this is all ready to get shot in semi-gloss black, so I can black it out, and then I'll grab a photo etch emblem and put the SS emblem in the grill because it is not there, but it will be. I've got plenty of photo etched SS emblems, and because it's no different than any of the other ones. Although I can't remember if it's SS 396 or just SS on this one. I think it is 396, but I'm pretty sure I have 396, and I got to paint the rearview mirror here. That's from Scale Equipment Limited, along with the side mirrors that are on there. Those are the ones I showed you earlier. But these are ready to get some semi-gloss black on them, so I'm going to go out there and shoot them here in a little bit. And the chassis is going to get some more semi-gloss. I mean, just basically washed it off to make sure the dust wasn't on it anymore. And then I got the mount here, which this is a transmission crossmember. This is more of a drive shaft safety, but it's over here on this. It's right here, and then the axle pins. So this is all ready for some semi-gloss black. This is ready for some semi-gloss black. I still haven't decided on the interior color since the car is going to be red. So the interior is kind of still sitting here. And then paint the roll pan. This needs just a tiny bit of body work, so a little more body work going along, and then I'll hand paint the transmission and put the pan on, paint this part black, put the oil pan on, paint the oil filter, because I think I'll paint the oil filter blue, and just start getting the engine ready for assembly. It's a nice Turbo 400 on it. So, but I'll get the engine detail painted, get this stuff going. So stay tuned, you'll see another update to this video, and you'll see more progress on this one. So stay tuned. Okay, getting a little bit more done on this 71 MPC Camaro here, and you know, it's going pretty easy, but as you can see, I semi-gloss blacked the chassis and I painted the steel on the gas tank. I got to touch up a little bit here, a little bit of brush paint, and then I glued the front suspension back on, so that's all back in place. So it's getting there. I'll get the radiator support and fan shroud glued in, because this goes in this way, and then get that glued in place. I gotta find a radiator hose, because I noticed in my stuff here that I'm missing an upper radiator hose, which that's no problem. And I'm also missing the distributor. I thought I had it, but just another parts box scrounging. But got the carburetor and the valve covers on there, so that's ready to go. And then the fan and the alternator and pulley system. Mounted the starter, and then do the exhaust manifolds, and I painted the oil filter blue, and you know, did what I was talking about, blacked out the torque converter cover, and then painted the transmission. So this is pretty much ready to mount in there. And I've got these exhaust manifolds. I think they'll work. I know they're not from this kit. It's just ones I found in my parts box that looks like it'll work. And I'll have to shorten the exhaust pipes, because these are a little on the long side. But they look pretty accurate for a big block exhaust manifold. Hopefully they clear, but it looks like they're going to clear everything. There's really nothing in the way. And then started painting the exhaust, or the rear axle. And then I'll hand paint all the exhaust and mufflers and get this all ready to go. So a little bit of steel here, a little bit of aluminum on the pipes. And this will be ready to glue on, get the chassis assembled and ready to go. So that part's going to be pretty easy, getting all that detailed and done. And as I was looking, I noticed, you know, I mentioned that there's no SS emblem in the grill, but I noticed on the Camaros that there really is no SS emblem on the grill or on the trunk, only on the fenders. Now, I did find people that have added them to the grill, but a lot of the original cars don't have them, and in the original literature, I don't see them there either. So I'm a little confused on whether or not there was an SS emblem in the grill or not. It's kind of odd to me that they wouldn't put an SS emblem in the grill, but GM did some strange things. So getting this part done. So this, I'll do a little bit more detail painting, and I'll get all this done. Really haven't touched the chassis, or the chassis, this interior tub. I just mocking it up here, but I want to do a different color interior than just black, but almost all the Camaros I see, they have black interior. I did find some with kind of a brown interior, not really a light brown, but kind of a medium brown, kind of buckskin. And I noticed on those, the one I was looking at had a wood grain insert in the dash, but this lower part of the dash was black, and then it had a black console. But it looked like the carpet was the dark brown also, so I'll keep looking at reference photos there and pay attention to how they did that on those. So I'm getting ready to paint the interior, which is why I didn't black out the underside, because I'll semi-gloss black that, but I was getting ready to paint all of this first. So getting going on this part of it, but it won't take much, you know, to finish this out. Plus, if I do the brown, if I have the wood grain in the sides here, kind of don't have to pick that out. May or may not, but so there's that. And then the steering wheel, nothing really fancy there, but that's the steering wheel. It's got the bow tie emblem instead of the SS, which it would have the SS there, but the model kit has got the bow tie in there. I'm not really sure if it's accurate, because the SS ones I've seen have the SS steering wheel, which is kind of funny that MPC would give you this steering wheel but put the SS emblems on the fenders. And then last, you can see I've done a little bit more body work to it, shot some primer on it, but shot a little bit more primer on the mirrors and a couple of areas here, and a little bit of sanding. The hood's just kind of taped in place right now because I want to see it. But I got the wing on there, so you can see what it looks like in primer now. I got a couple areas to sand and smooth out. To me, this is really rounded, and the ones I'm looking at, they come to a much more sharper point. But I may just sand this to where it doesn't bow out so much, where it looks so bowed out on both sides. But she's looking pretty good, and there's a gap right there, so I may fill that in with a little bit of putty. On others, I've actually just filled it with super glue, but the problem with that is sometimes it'll fill this seam for the trunk. And I mentioned earlier that I engraved the trunk lines into it because it was molded as an Audi, kind of weird, as a raised lip to where the trunk lid goes. So I had carved those in with my razor saw and did it on both sides, and looking pretty good. As you can see, this seam is really tight, but I had filled it with super glue, and it also was much tighter on there. But I'll sand this a little smoother because it sticks out just a little bit farther, so I think I'll sand that, get it a little closer to the quarter panel, and then maybe straighten this out a little bit so it doesn't have that kick out right there, but both sides, so it doesn't have as much of a shadow like when I put the light there and you can see it throws the shadow. So I may just thin that out, put a little bit of tape over there so I don't sand over the marker lighter. If when I come off of it I don't sand on the quarter panel. But the rest of the body's, there goes the mirror, but the rest of the body's ready to go. These mirrors weren't staying on, I just temporarily tacked them on, so knocking them off is not a big deal. I can drill and pin it, but it gives me an idea where to it's mounted. But so there's a couple more steps there. I'll drill and pin these, do a little bit more body work to the spoiler here, and get it cleaned up and ready for paint. But since I want to paint this one red, really leaning towards the brown interior instead of having a black interior. But a little bit more progress on this one, and there'll be an update on this. I got to update a couple other models I'm working on. But so stay tuned, and I appreciate all the comments and all the watches and shares and everything. So thank you for subscribing and tuning in, and I will see you next Saturday. Have a good weekend.